I think this will rank as the toughest interview I've had, but I enjoyed it nonetheless. That generation of people that chose, science were influenced by something that happened in a country far away from us, right? Although I was born in 1969, but the actual landing of the moon, man on the moon, happened around that period, just 3 months after I was born. So, and a few years subsequent to that, there was always this fascination with space. Even it entered our popular vocabulary. When in the 1980s, the municipality officials and engineers used to erect these massive floodlights. We call them Apollo gas, called electricity gas. So it was also in our popular normal language. We knew about Armstrong. We knew about, and schools also had these posters of these men wearing these inflated suits, looking like children actually, inflated dolls, standing on this rock just next to the planet. So I think that it's always been something that has fascinated me, and of course I saw the first rocket launch of a space shuttle. The first space shuttle was in 1981. I'm not that young. And that fascinated me, and I thought of becoming an astronaut, but those days, of course, it was beyond the politics didn't allow for it, not even the country. Our country never had an astronaut corps. I can name one or two, like for example, Things Fall Apart by Chinwe and Petals of Blood by Ngugi, a book by Fyodor Dostoevsky, Crime and Punishment. Not very easy, but quite tough. It's hard, it hits you. It's a question about moral relativity and moral judgment. And I think it's still one of the best books I've ever read. As a youngster, I did martial arts, various forms of martial arts, because of the neighborhood you grew up in, right? I did boxing just because I was a short, nerdy kid, and that like these tough guys. So to actually walk from home to school, which was a good 10, 15 minutes walk, but it seemed like forever because you'd find these other guys hanging by the shop there, blomming, as they used to say. We're obviously high on something, by the smell coming out of that corner, they would, ask you for money, and you need to either run fast or, fight your way away from the situation. So I picked up martial arts because I wasn't that good at football. My brother was a brilliant football player, so I ran away from football. I went into martial arts, which was very popular in the 1980s as well. I've picked up cooking. I enjoy cooking. Sunday roast, is my favorite, most relaxing activity. Is preparing a meal. I don't do it every day because it wouldn't be fun. And listening to my favorite music, both jazz or classical scores that I listen to. Apart from, obviously I like putting with my kids, putting Legos of rockets. I'll bring one to, I've got a Lego of this Saturn V rocket that with about 1,969 pieces that you put together. So it was a nice summer treat for last year. But I also like old cars. I own a 1965 Ford Galaxy, and I recently acquired a 1974 Dodge Charger. You're too young for that. That's the one that was involved in a chase with Steve McQueen in the Bullet. It's a 1969 movie. So that is the kind of, I'm showing my age, so I'm a muscle car collector. I started wearing bow ties 8 years ago, if I can use it. They're quite funky, and I think I'm more comfortable wearing a bow tie than wearing a formal tie. It's part of my exercise routine. And also, I get to engage with students and also appreciate the campus and know the campus from different angles. Sitting here perched on this floor and looking down, you don't have the same perspective as you would if you walk around the campus. In actual fact, I met one former SRC, no, one former student leader who was at the forefront of a student protest and said to me, Prof, you don't have security walking around here. And I said to him, I'm not scared of my students. Spoiler alert, I would have thought The Matrix, Star Wars, but no. Guess what it is? It's from 1968. It's called 2001 Space Odyssey by a brilliant director called Stanley Kubrick. Guess why? It's the first movie where artificial intelligence develops its own almost conscience and its own agency, takes over a spaceship, kills all astronauts, and fights with the remaining captain of the ship. Funny enough, actually, in the 80s, I was one of the early followers of hip-hop. I liked the band called Public Enemy, you know, cool, moody, that genre. And I just lost interest when gangster rap with its profanities came out. I know it became popular in the 1990s, but I had gone off hip-hop. But 80s, I was really into hip-hop, like rock, rap, not hip-hop, rap. Public Enemy, and because they had stronger messages. And I used to like reggae those days. African music, West African music, I like very much. Congolese music is my favorite to dance to. I think they actually have some of the best, the most vibrant mix of dance music on the continent. So that just speaks about my general taste in music. I don't think I can say that I like one particular sort. Yeah. In no order at all. John Coltrane's Ascension. People might hate it, but it's one of my favorite. 40 minutes of play. The overture to Wagner's Entry of the Gods into Valhalla. Not an artist, Wagner was an artist that was a genius, but also totally flawed as a character. But some of his operas were really out of this world. Mahler's Fifth, fourth movement of the Fifth. Huma Segala's Grazing, total genius. Mix of jazz and African, that is inexplicable. And Stevie Wonder's Superstition. I mentioned Space Odyssey. Rocky 1, incredibly artistic. When I exercise, I play that music by Bill Conti, I'm Gonna Fly Now. You know, when you run, I can just do 10 kilometers just listening to that song. Just gives me the energy. Casablanca, Humphrey Bogart. The Matrix 1, the first Matrix. Then the rest is downhill. Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back, number 2. Because Darth Vader is my favorite character. So a sad soul that is conflicted. One by French writer, Victor Hugo, who wrote that nothing can stop the strength of an idea whose time has come. Roasted leg of lamb. Rare. I don't like cooking my meal. I like my steak, you know, even my ram steak has to be almost blue, you know, uncooked. And you don't find that in South Africa. So I like raw meat.
What's your favorite pizza?
Quattro Stagione, the Four Seasons. As a student, I lived on the Four Seasons for quite a while. You know, we all know that there are two things that are beyond dispute, right? You know, people talk about rankings of universities, but you can't reduce something as complex as a university with its teaching, learning, social engagement, research, innovation, into just one number, the best university in the world or the best university in Africa. I think that is, more or less which are the top universities, in our case, which are the top 2, top 3, top 4, top 5, whatever. But with the football team, I can say without any certainty that the best team in the world is Arsenal, and the best team on the continent is Orlando Pirates, and that is a fact. And I think it's absolute, canonical, universal fact, and no one should dispute that. And that's where I end my debate.